You will never be able to shift reality if you don't stop practicing the 7 fatal habits that we'll be covering. You see, from the moment you open your eyes to the world, you're told that to understand who you are, you must look back at where you've come from. But what if this very belief is what's holding you back from truly shifting your reality? In our journey through the 7 fatal habits, we begin with a habit that's as subtle as it is destructive: neglecting the present moment by living in the past. Imagine for a moment that you're walking through a dense forest, but instead of looking ahead or around you, your gaze is fixed firmly on your footsteps, the path you've already trodden. How much of the forest's beauty would you miss? How many new paths would remain undiscovered? Living in the past is similar to walking through life with this backward gaze. It's a habit that ties your identity and potential to a mere shadow of what has been rather than what could be. The past, with its joys and sorrows, successes and failures, becomes a chain that binds you, preventing you from experiencing the full vibrancy of the present moment. Continuing from this powerful metaphor, it's essential to explore how this habit of neglecting the present moment has been perceived and addressed by philosophers throughout history. One such philosopher is Søren Kierkegaard. He was a Danish philosopher born in the 19th century and is often regarded as the father of existentialism. This philosophical movement emphasizes individual existence, freedom and choice. Kierkegaard's work focuses profoundly on the human condition, particularly on how individuals live and relate to their existence. His philosophy is a valuable lens through which we can examine our fatal habit of living in the past. Kierkegaard argued that to truly live, one must be in the moment, fully engaged with present experiences. He believed that living in the past or future instead of the present leads to a life that is not genuinely lived. According to him, when we are preoccupied with past events or future possibilities, we fail to engage with the immediate reality of our lives. This disengagement, he contended, results in a form of despair, a disconnect from the true self. In his book, Either Or, Kierkegaard explores the concept of aesthetic and ethical ways of living. The aesthetic life is characterized by the pursuit of pleasure and immediate gratification, often leading to a life lived in the shadow of past pleasures or future desires. On the other hand, the ethical life, as advocated by Kierkegaard, involves making choices that are rooted in the present and taking responsibility for those choices. It is in this ethical life that one can find true meaning and fulfillment. You see, there's a certain comfort in the known, even if it's a story of struggle or pain. It's a narrative we've told ourselves so often that it becomes our reality. This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism provides a vital lesson. Stoics believed in focusing on the present, where life happens. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." When you live in the past, you give power to something that no longer exists, except in your memories and perceptions. This habit not only robs you of the joy of now, but also blocks the flow of new, positive energy into your life. The present moment is where life happens. It's where you have the power to make choices, to feel joy, to experience life in its fullness. When you're anchored in the past, you're like a ship trying to sail without lifting its anchor. You may catch the wind in your sails, but you won't move forward. Consider a parable from Zen Buddhism. 2 monks on their way to the monastery encounter a river. A woman stands there, unable to cross. One monk carries her across, despite their vow to avoid touching women. They walk in silence until the monastery, where the other monk bursts out, "How could you carry that woman?" The first monk replies, "I left her by the river. Are you still carrying her?" This story illustrates the weight of holding on to the past. The second monk, despite not physically carrying the woman, was burdened by the memory of the act long after it had passed. This is what living in the past does. It keeps you carrying weights that you should have put down long ago. Mindfulness, a practice rooted in various spiritual traditions, teaches us to be fully present in the now. It's about experiencing this moment without judgment, without the lens of past experiences clouding your view. By doing so, you open yourself to new possibilities, higher vibrations, and a deeper connection with the world around you. Breaking free from the habit of living in the past isn't easy, but it's necessary for a transformative shift in your reality. It starts with awareness. Every time you find your mind wandering into the alleys of yesterday, gently guide it back to the present. Engage fully with the here and now. Feel the air on your skin, listen to the sounds around you, observe your current thoughts and feelings without attachment. As we continue our journey, we turn to the second habit, one that is deeply ingrained in many: holding on to pain identity. This is more than just remembering past hurts. It's about defining oneself through the lens of past pain, a practice that can severely limit your spiritual and personal growth. Imagine you're wearing a pair of glasses with a cracked lens. Everything you see is distorted by those cracks. Similarly, when you identify with past pain, your view of the world and yourself becomes distorted. Your pain becomes your identity, a constant companion that shapes your reactions, choices, and interactions. This pain identity often manifests as a narrative of victimhood or suffering, a story you tell yourself and others about who you are, based on your past hurts. But here's the crucial part. While your pain is real, the identity you've built around it is a choice. In many spiritual teachings, the act of letting go is paramount. Buddhism, for instance, talks about the concept of attachment as a source of suffering. The Buddha taught that attachment, not just to physical things, but also to ideas and narratives about ourselves, leads to suffering. Holding on to a pain identity is a form of attachment that keeps you trapped in a cycle of suffering. There's a Buddhist parable where a man is struck by a poisoned arrow. Instead of letting a doctor remove it, he demands to know who shot it, why, what kind of wood the arrow is made of, and so on. The Buddha used this story to illustrate the folly of over-analyzing our pain instead of working to remove it. When you define yourself by your past pain, you are like the man obsessed with the arrow's details, ignoring the urgent need to remove it and heal. You remain stuck, analyzing and reliving your pain rather than moving towards healing and growth. The key to breaking free from a pain identity is to reframe your narrative. You're not denying your past or the pain you experienced. Instead, you're choosing not to let it be the defining aspect of your life. This process starts with acknowledging your pain and its impact on your life. Then, gradually, you begin to shift your focus. You start to define yourself not by what has happened to you, but by who you choose to be now and in the future. It's about finding new aspects of your identity, rooted in the present and looking forward. Holding on to a pain identity keeps you in a state of stagnation, but letting go opens the door to change and growth. It's an opportunity to rediscover yourself, to explore new facets of your character, and to experience life unburdened by the weight of past hurts. In every moment you have the choice. You can cling to a narrative that no longer serves you, or you can step into a new story, one where you are not defined by your pain, but by your resilience, strength, and capacity for change. Now we turn our focus to the third habit, a seemingly simple yet profoundly impactful habit, the lack of gratitude. Often underestimated, the absence of gratitude in our daily lives can be a significant barrier to personal and spiritual growth. Before diving into the nuances of this habit, let's pause and ask ourselves, what is gratitude? It's more than just saying thank you. Gratitude is an acknowledgement of the value and wonder in our lives, both in monumental achievements and mundane moments. It's a celebration of the now, a recognition of the beauty, lessons, and opportunities that surround us. Neglecting gratitude is like walking through a garden blindfolded, unaware of the colors and fragrances around you. This lack of awareness has a ripple effect. It leads to a mindset focused on what's missing rather than what's present, creating a feeling of perpetual dissatisfaction and longing. This mindset can dim your inner light, making it harder to vibrate at a higher, more fulfilling frequency. Integrating gratitude into your life isn't just about acknowledging the good. It's also about finding the silver lining in challenges. It's a daily practice, a conscious choice to focus on the blessings rather than the shortcomings. Start small. Each day find 3 things you're grateful for. They could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a smile from a stranger, or the comfort of your bed. This practice shifts your focus, gradually changing your perception of the world and your place in it. Interestingly, gratitude isn't just a spiritual practice, it's also grounded in science. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can lead to increased levels of happiness, better health, and improved relationships. It's a testament to the power of this seemingly simple habit. We now encounter the 4th habit, a particularly pervasive and subtle trap: material attachment. In a world that often equates success with material wealth, it's easy to fall into the belief that happiness and fulfillment are found in possessions. However, this belief can be a significant roadblock on your path to a higher vibrational life. Material attachment revolves around the idea that physical objects, wealth, and status can provide lasting happiness. This notion is akin to building a house on sand. It may seem sturdy, but it lacks a solid foundation. The pursuit of material possessions can become an endless chase, where satisfaction is always just out of reach, and the next acquisition promises the fulfillment that the last one didn't deliver. There was a philosopher who challenged the prevailing notions of materialism, St. Augustine of Hippo. St. Augustine was born in 354 AD in what is now Algeria. He spent much of his early life pursuing worldly pleasures and achievements, believing these to be the source of true happiness. However, despite his successes and material acquisitions, Augustine found himself dissatisfied and restless. His journey towards understanding the fallacy of material fulfillment is documented in his seminal work, Confessions, where he lays bare his soul's quest for true contentment. In Confessions, Augustine argues that material goods and pleasures are transient and can never fully satisfy the human heart, which he famously claimed was made for God and is restless until it rests in Him. This idea is crucial in understanding material attachment. Augustine believed that humans are inherently spiritual beings, and trying to fill a spiritual void with material things is futile. The heart's true desire, according to Augustine, is a connection with the divine, something that material possessions can never offer. Augustine's perspective offers a stark contrast to the modern world's obsession with material wealth and status. He posits that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, from a place of spiritual peace and connection, rather than from external possessions or accolades. This view aligns with the concept of a higher vibrational life, which suggests that true fulfillment comes from spiritual growth and inner development rather than external circumstances. Moreover, Augustine's reflections on the nature of desire and fulfillment are particularly relevant to the 4th habit. He observed that earthly pleasures and possessions often lead to a cycle of endless desire. The more one acquires, the more one wants, leading to a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. This cycle is precisely the trap of material attachment that the 4th habit warns against. The constant pursuit of material wealth and status can lead to a life focused on external validation and superficial achievements, diverting attention from the more profound, meaningful aspects of existence. Imagine a person who dedicates their life to acquiring wealth and possessions. They believe that once they reach a certain level of material success, they will be happy and fulfilled. Years pass and they amass wealth, but the promised fulfillment remains elusive. In focusing solely on material gains, they've neglected other aspects of their life that bring true joy, such as relationships, personal growth, and spiritual fulfillment. Attachment to material things is not just about the pursuit of wealth, it's also about the fear of loss. This fear can create a constant state of anxiety and insecurity, overshadowing the joys of the present moment. It's a cycle of desire and fear, where you're either chasing something you don't have or worrying about losing what you do. The key to overcoming material attachment is balance. It's not about rejecting material possessions or wealth. Rather, it's about changing your relationship with them. Recognize that while material things can bring comfort and pleasure, they are not the source of true happiness or self-worth. There are riches in life that surpass material wealth. These include the joy of human connection, spiritual riches, the peace found in nature, the growth that comes from personal challenges, and the fulfillment of contributing to something greater than yourself. By shifting your focus to these immaterial treasures, you lighten the weight of material attachment. We now arrive at the fifth habit, a habit that is often a default reaction to life's challenges: blaming. This habit, while seemingly a natural response to unfavorable circumstances, can be a significant obstacle in your journey towards higher vibrational living. Blame is the act of attributing responsibility for one's own discomfort, failures, or unhappiness to external factors or other people. It's a defense mechanism, a way to avoid facing one's own role in a situation. While it can provide temporary relief from discomfort, blame prevents personal growth and keeps you trapped in a cycle of negativity. Consider a fisherman who blames the sea every time his boat sinks, never acknowledging that it's his neglect in maintaining the boat that leads to these mishaps. He remains a victim of the sea's whims, never realizing his power to change his circumstances. This parable illustrates how blame places power outside of ourselves, rendering us helpless and passive. When you blame others for your circumstances, you give away your power to effect change. It's a surrender of control, a resignation to the idea that your life is shaped by forces beyond your influence. This mindset can lead to a state of stagnation, where personal growth is stunted and opportunities for learning and development are lost. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, a profound thinker of the 19th century, delved into the concept of blame and responsibility in his works. Nietzsche's philosophy, particularly his ideas on self-overcoming and the will to power, offer a thought-provoking perspective on this habit of blaming. Nietzsche argued that individuals have the potential to rise above their circumstances and create their own values and meaning in life. He criticized the tendency to blame others or external conditions as a form of weakness. According to Nietzsche, this attitude stems from a sense of powerlessness and a failure to embrace one's own will and capacity for change. He saw life as a series of challenges that individuals must confront and overcome to achieve personal growth and fulfillment. In the context of Nietzsche's philosophy, the act of blaming can be seen as a refusal to confront the abyss within oneself. He believed that facing one's inner turmoil and acknowledging one's role in their circumstances is essential for personal development. This process, which he termed self-overcoming, involves a rigorous examination of one's beliefs, values, and actions. It requires a willingness to question oneself, to accept responsibility for one's life, and to make conscious choices that reflect one's true desires and aspirations. The antidote to blame is taking ownership of your life. This means accepting responsibility for your actions, reactions, and the role you play in your own life narrative. Ownership doesn't mean you're at fault for everything. Rather, it acknowledges that your choices, attitudes, and responses are yours to control. There is a profound freedom and empowerment in taking responsibility. It shifts your perspective from one of passivity to one of active engagement with your life. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than obstacles imposed by an unfair world. We now confront the sixth habit, a habit often overlooked yet pivotal in our journey: ignoring intuition. This inner voice, a subtle guide, is frequently drowned out in the noise of our hectic lives, leading us away from our true path and potential. Intuition is that instinctual feeling, the whisper in your heart, or the gut feeling that guides you without the need for conscious reasoning. It's an innate wisdom, a connection to a deeper part of ourselves that sees beyond the surface. When we ignore this inner voice, we turn away from an essential part of our being that is designed to navigate us through life's complexities. Think of a traveler at a crossroads with no map or sign to guide them. They feel an instinctive pull towards one path but choose the other, swayed by logic or the opinions of others. As they progress, they find themselves increasingly lost. This allegory mirrors our life's journey. When we ignore our intuition, we end up on paths that don't align with our true selves. When you continually ignore your intuition, you may find yourself in situations that don't feel right, pursuing goals that don't fulfill you, or in relationships that drain rather than enrich you. This disconnect can lead to a sense of dissatisfaction, confusion, and a feeling that you're not living your true life. Reconnecting with your intuition requires quieting the external noise and tuning into your inner world. It's about creating space for silence, reflection, and self-awareness. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, journaling, or simply spending time in nature can help foster this connection. Trusting your intuition is an act of trusting yourself. It's acknowledging that there is a part of you that knows what's best for you, even if it doesn't always make logical sense. This trust doesn't mean disregarding reason or advice, but rather balancing them with the wisdom that comes from within. As we delve deeper into the realm of trusting our intuition, we encounter a powerful ally in this journey: faith. Faith is the bridge that connects the known to the unknown, the seen to the unseen. It's a leap into the vastness of belief where logic and reason don't always tread. Faith in oneself and in the subtle nudges of intuition is a crucial step in honoring our inner wisdom. Faith is not just a religious or spiritual concept. It's a universal principle that applies to various aspects of our lives. It's the firm belief in something for which there is no proof, but you feel it deeply within. When it comes to intuition, faith is the trust that your inner guidance is leading you in the right direction, even when external circumstances might suggest otherwise. This reliance on faith can be challenging in a world that often demands tangible proof and logical explanations. Our society tends to value rational thought over intuitive feeling, leading many to suppress or doubt their inner voice. However, embracing faith means accepting that there are things beyond our immediate understanding and control. It's about surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that there's a greater wisdom at work. The role of faith in following intuition can be likened to a seed planted in the soil. You cannot see what's happening beneath the surface, but you have faith that, with the right conditions, it will grow and flourish. Similarly, when you act on your intuition, you plant a seed of possibility, trusting that it will lead to growth and fulfillment, even if the immediate outcome is unclear. Now we confront the last yet equally destructive seventh habit: envy and jealousy. These emotions are toxic twins, rooted in comparison and discontent, can significantly impede your path to a higher vibrational life. Envy and jealousy, often used interchangeably, are two sides of the same coin. Envy is the desire for what someone else possesses, while jealousy is the fear of losing what we have to someone else. Both arise from a place of lack, a belief that someone else's gain is your loss, a zero-sum game of happiness and success. Envy and jealousy can distort your perception of your own life, leading to dissatisfaction and unhappiness. They keep you focused on others' paths, preventing you from appreciating and progressing on your own. These emotions can also lead to strained relationships, as they are often accompanied by resentment and bitterness. In understanding the detrimental effects of envy and jealousy, it's beneficial to turn to one of the oldest and most influential texts in human history, the Bible. Within Christianity, the Bible serves as a guide, offering wisdom and insight into human nature and morality. Its teachings on envy and jealousy provide a profound understanding of these emotions and their impact on our lives. The Bible addresses envy and jealousy in several instances, highlighting them as destructive forces. For example, in the book of James it is written, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. James chapter 3 verse 16. This verse emphasizes the chaos and negativity that can stem from harboring these emotions. Envy and jealousy are not just personal feelings, they have the power to sow discord and strife within communities and relationships. One of the 10 commandments, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Exodus chapter 20 verse 17 directly addresses the issue of envy. This commandment teaches the importance of contentment and the danger of desiring what others have. It is a call to focus on one's blessings rather than longing for what others possess, promoting a spirit of gratitude and satisfaction. The story of Cain and Abel, found in Genesis, is a poignant example of how jealousy can lead to catastrophic outcomes. Cain, envious of his brother Abel's favor with God, allows his jealousy to fester into anger and ultimately commits the first murder in the Bible. This story illustrates the extreme consequences of unchecked jealousy and the importance of mastering one's emotions. The cure for envy and jealousy is cultivating contentment and focusing on your own journey. This involves recognizing and celebrating your unique strengths, achievements, and blessings. It's about understanding that everyone's path is different and that someone else's success does not diminish your own potential or worth. Another way to combat these feelings is to practice genuinely celebrating others' successes. This shift in perspective transforms envy and jealousy into admiration and inspiration. It allows you to appreciate others' achievements without feeling threatened or lessened by them. With the exploration of these 7 habits, the journey comes to an end. May this understanding guide you to a higher vibrational path, free from the chains of these limiting habits. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel or to leave a comment sharing your experiences. Thank you for watching.